They say you shouldn't sell your wedding dress, but nobody ever tells you why. Not until it's too late. Not until your dead mother starts appearing in your dreams, mouth open as if to scream, but no sound comes out, only the cold touch of regret. That's how Natalia's story began. A woman in her late 20s, a newlywed barely a year into her marriage with a man she adored. Oleksii, her safe harbor. Her calm after many storms. They had everything, a modest apartment, matching rings, and what she thought was an unshakable bond. Until the night she baked a simple loaf of bread to honor her mother's memory. The house was filled with the scent of warmth, cinnamon, cloves, and hope. She sliced the loaf, offered it to her husband and a visiting friend, and whispered, "May your life be sweet like this bread, and may there be little salt." But as she smiled, blood dripped onto the breadboard. "Mom, there's blood," her voice cracked. She turned, and saw him. Her husband, standing in the hallway, his arm gashed open by something unseen. Something that wasn't there. From that moment, everything changed. Natalia tried to forget. Tried to believe it was an accident. That Oleksii had slipped. That maybe the knife was too close to the edge of the counter. But she knew better. Because that night, her mother came to her in a dream. Not soft and smiling like before, but gray, distant, eyes full of warning. The next morning, Natalia did something she never thought she'd do. She went to see a blind woman who lived on the outskirts of the city. People called her Madam Grace. No one knew her real name, only that she never asked questions, only gave answers. "I think I left her alone," Natalia whispered. "I thought she was just sleeping when I left for work. And when I came back, she was gone. I didn't even say goodbye." Grace touched the photo in Natalia's hand. "You did not leave her," the old woman said. "You were living. She wanted that. She didn't want you to see her go. Then why does she keep coming to me? She's not haunting you. She's warning you." Natalia frowned. "Warning me? About what?" "There is another woman," Grace said. "She wants your husband." Natalia's laugh was small. Nervous. "No. That's not possible. He loves me." Grace reached behind her and retrieved two small handmade dolls. Motanka, bound in red thread. "This one is you. This one is him," she said, placing them side by side. "Now tie them together." Natalia took the red thread and wrapped it around the dolls' waists. As soon as the knot tightened, the thread snapped in her hands. Her breath caught. "Something is tearing you apart," Grace said. "This woman, she carries something of yours. Something you gave her without knowing." Natalia shook her head. "I haven't given anything to anyone. I don't even know who she could be." "She is close," Grace said. "Closer than you think. And if you do not take back what is yours, she will take what is his." Natalia left in a fog. She didn't tell her husband about the visit. Didn't want him to think she was spiraling. But the words, "She carries something of yours," clung to her like smoke. That week, her best friend Irina arrived from Poland for a short visit. They'd grown up together. Known each other since they were teenagers. Natalia even joked once that if Irina ever needed a kidney, she wouldn't hesitate. Now she wasn't so sure. Irina stepped into the apartment with her usual dramatic flair. "Still wearing these awful slippers, Nat? Come on, even at home you could at least try not to look like a retired librarian." Natalia smiled, but her stomach clenched. Then Irina caught sight of Oleksii, and Natalia saw it. That flicker in the eye. That half-second pause. That quick scan from head to toe. "Oleksii, dear," Irina said. "They must be blind in this country not to recruit you into modeling. Or, is it that you prefer to be admired just by one?" Natalia's cheeks flushed. Later that night, while they sipped tea and the clock ticked past midnight, Natalia tried to brush it off. She's always been flirty, she told herself. But when she went to bed, she found herself watching Oleksii sleep. Really watching him. For the first time in months, She noticed the way he kept his phone face down. The way he never quite answered questions directly. "Who are the women in your department?" she asked casually the next morning. He raised an eyebrow. "Why?" "No reason. Just curious." He laughed. "Mostly women, yeah. Our floor is practically a feminist battleground." She tried to smile. "But you never said that." He shrugged. "Didn't think it mattered. You don't think it's important that you're surrounded by women every day?" He stared at her. "I think you're trying to start a fight. And I'm too tired to play." He turned over and pulled the blanket higher. Natalia sat in silence. The warning from Grace echoed louder than ever. The thread snapped for a reason. And someone was holding a piece of her life, her past, that didn't belong to them. But who? And what? She couldn't remember giving Irina anything important. Anything from the wedding. Nothing sacred. Right. The doubt clawed deeper. That morning, she called her half-sister, Oksana, the one who had introduced her to Oleksii in the first place. "Do you think Oleksii could ever cheat?" Natalia asked. There was silence on the line. "Wow," Oksana said. "What brought that on? He didn't come home? Money missing? Lipstick on the collar?" "No," Natalia said. "Nothing like that." "Then you're being paranoid." "I don't know. He's been distant, cold, and weird things have been happening. Dreams. My mom." "Okay, now you're just spiraling. Listen, if you keep snooping and accusing, you'll push him into doing something he hasn't even considered yet." Natalia hung up, more confused than before. That night, she cooked dinner, meatballs in tomato sauce, the way Oleksii liked. But when she walked into the kitchen, Irina was already there, cooking. "I thought I'd surprise you," Irina said, smiling. "Try mine. Bet you can't make them like this." Natalia stared at the dish. "You're cooking for my husband?" "Well, for all of us," Irina laughed. "But sure, let's call it that." Natalia said nothing. She sat at the table, watching her husband taste the food, nodding politely. Irina winked. The thread inside her heart pulled tight. She needed answers. And she needed them now. Natalia couldn't sleep. She lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, feeling the cold pull of something she couldn't name. In the room next door, Irina laughed loudly into her phone. Oleksii shifted in his sleep, oblivious. But Natalia was wide awake. And she kept hearing Grace's voice. "She carries something of yours." But what? She hadn't given Irina anything. Had she? At dawn, Natalia rose quietly, pulled a sweater over her shoulders, and made her way to the old wooden box where she stored wedding keepsakes. A silk ribbon, invitation cards, the dried petals from her bridal bouquet. The bouquet. Her breath hitched. On their wedding day, during the bouquet toss, it was Irina who caught it. Natalia remembered her mother's worried face right after, and how she whispered, "Don't let anyone take your bouquet." Not her. But Natalia had laughed. "It's tradition, Mama." Now, it didn't feel so funny. She searched the box. No bouquet. A knot formed in her chest. Was it possible Irina had kept it? Or worse, was it never hers to take? Natalia didn't wait for breakfast. She grabbed her coat and walked, fast, to the corner coffee shop, where she could think without being watched. She texted Irina, "I'll be out for a while. Need air." And then, without thinking too much, she pulled out her phone and called Grace. "I think I know what it is," she said quietly. "My bouquet. From the wedding." Grace was silent for a long moment. "You remember?" "Yes." Irina caught it. "But it never felt right." "That's because it wasn't hers. The bouquet belongs to the woman whose soul it honored. Your mother knew this. That's why she came to you. I have to get it back." "You must. But she will not give it freely. She may not even know what she's done. But the spirit does. And it's angry." Natalia's throat tightened. What do I say to her? Don't say. Act. Take it back. Before nightfall. Or the spirit will anchor itself deeper. Natalia ended the call and sat in silence, watching people pass outside. Children with backpacks, couples holding hands, an old man walking a tiny dog. None of them knew her world was unraveling. She returned home to find the apartment empty. A note on the fridge read, "Out for a walk with Oleksii. Back in an hour. Don't miss me too much, winking face. I." Natalia's fingers curled around the paper. She didn't know what made her angrier, the tone, or the fact that her husband hadn't said a word about going out. She opened Irina's suitcase. Immediately, the scent of Natalia's perfume hit her. Her wedding perfume. Irina had taken a bottle. Natalia's stomach turned. And then she saw it, folded inside a silky blouse, wrapped carefully in tissue paper, her bouquet. Still intact. Dry and golden. Natalia's hands trembled. She reached for it, but the moment her fingers touched the stems, the air changed. Colder. Heavy. Behind her, the door creaked. "I wouldn't do that," Irina's voice said calmly. Natalia froze. "I thought you were out." "I came back for something," Irina said. She stepped closer. "Seems like you found it. What are you doing with this?" Natalia whispered. Irina shrugged. "You gave it to me." "No," Natalia said. "I didn't. You caught it. You didn't earn it." Irina's smile was thin. "I earned a lot more than that, Nat. I introduced you to Oleksii, remember? He was mine, once. You just swooped in." "That's not true." "Oh, but it is. He used to talk to me every day. Text me. Joke with me. Until you. Now I'm just the friend from Poland." "You have someone else," Natalia said. "You told me." "I lied." Silence. Irina stepped forward, the bouquet still in Natalia's hands. "That's just dried flowers to you," Irina said. "But to me, it's a second chance." "Second chance at what?" "Destroying someone else's life." "I didn't destroy anything. I just took back what should have been mine." Natalia looked down at the bouquet. She saw it clearly now, not as a keepsake, but as a key. A symbol. A spiritual lock. And someone else had tried to turn it. She clutched it tighter and backed away. "I'm taking it back." "Try," Irina said, voice low. "But something's already started. You felt it. The blood. The gas. The dreams. You think that's me? That's not me. That's her. Her. Your mother. She's angry. And confused. She thinks I stole your life. But I didn't. You gave it to me. The moment you stopped guarding what was yours." Natalia stepped toward the door. "I'm going to Grace. She'll help me finish this." "You'll regret that," Irina whispered. "There are some things you can't unsee." Natalia ran. She didn't stop to change. Didn't wait for Oleksii. She clutched the bouquet to her chest like it was a newborn and hailed the first cab she could find. When she arrived at Grace's cottage, she nearly collapsed at the door. Grace opened it before Natalia could knock. "You found it," she said. "Yes," Natalia panted. "But it's worse than I thought." Grace nodded. "Come in. We don't have much time." Natalia placed the bouquet on the old wooden table. The petals were dull now. Brittle. One snapped off and fell to the floor like a tear. Grace touched it gently. "This was made in love," she said. "But carried in envy." Natalia sat, breath shaky. She said, "My mother is the one doing this." "She's not," Grace said. "But she's trying to fight it. She's your shield. The darkness you feel, it comes from the spirit of what that bouquet has touched." "Can I destroy it?" "No," Grace said firmly. "You must unbind it. Properly. That is the only way." She reached into a drawer and pulled out a tiny vial of oil and a red cloth. "We'll do it now." before sunset. Together, they worked in silence. Grace poured oil over the stems, whispered something Natalia didn't understand, then wrapped the bouquet in red cloth and placed it into the fire. The flames hissed. The smoke curled. And for a moment, Natalia swore she saw her mother's face in the rising embers, smiling. By the time she left Grace's house, the air felt lighter. She walked slower, straighter. But the peace didn't last. That evening, she returned home to find Oleksii standing at the window, phone in hand. "You didn't answer my texts," he said. "I needed space." "To do what? Sneak off? Call more witches?" She flinched. "Don't say that." "What do you want me to say, Nat? That I'm okay with you going through people's bags? Accusing Irina of... What exactly?" Natalia walked past him, opened the drawer, and placed down the red cloth. "I took back what was mine," she said. "And if you don't understand that, maybe you never understood me at all." He stared at her. "I don't even know who you are right now." "I'm your wife," she said. "The woman you said you'd protect. Remember?" "I do." "Then start acting like it." That night, he slept on the couch. Natalia slept with the red cloth under her pillow. And for the first time in weeks, no dreams came. No blood. No whispers. Only silence. But silence doesn't always mean safety. Because something else had been watching. And it wasn't done yet. For the first time in a long while, Natalia felt she was standing on the edge, between faith and reality, between despair and hope. She realized, watching wasn't enough anymore. She had to act. She had to find the truth. And most of all, she had to urgently locate the item that was pulling her toward death. She looked through the wedding photos again, searching for details. Her eyes stopped on one picture, taken right after the ceremony. Irina was holding the bridal bouquet. The bouquet. That very one. Irina shouldn't have had it. Natalia clearly remembered it landed in Oksana's hands during the bouquet toss. So how did it end up with her friend? Confused, Natalia grabbed her phone and called Irina. "Hi. Can we meet? Just talk. Today. I'm at the train station now, waiting for a taxi. If it's quick, sure. I'm on my way." Irina was waiting under the cafe awning, smiling, as always. But Natalia could barely look her in the eyes. "Do you remember my wedding bouquet?" Natalia asked. "Of course. Your mom made such a scene. Said no one should take anything from the wedding or else fate might get confused. She took it from me that day. So why were you holding it in the photo?" Irina shrugged. "Well, I posed with it for a bit, while I still could. Then your mom grabbed it, snatched it right out of my hands. The bouquet, the garter, even the boutonniere, all of it." Natalia's chest tightened. The bouquet was with Irina. Her mother knew. Her mother tried to protect her. But what happened to the bouquet afterward? Did you give it to someone? Maybe passed it to Oksana? No. I honestly forgot about it. But, wait. Your sister mentioned the bouquet was saved. She said it was in a box with other wedding stuff. Maybe she took it. Natalia didn't ask further. She already knew. She thanked Irina and went straight to Oksana's place. Her stepsister opened the door with her usual smile. Strained, a little smug. "Natalia, hi. Everything okay? You had my bouquet, didn't you?" "Oh, that. Yeah. You said I could take some decorations from the wedding as a keepsake. I even joked that it'd bring me luck. And you didn't object. And then you gave it away?" "Well, yes. A friend of mine was burying her daughter. She took her own life after a failed romance. And I don't know why, but I offered her the bouquet. It was beautiful. White. Like a symbol." Natalia clutched her chest. She nearly collapsed. "You gave my wedding bouquet to a corpse?" "Not just a corpse," Oksana said flatly. "A suicide victim." But I didn't know it meant so much to you. You knew. You always knew. Natalia shouted. You weren't just jealous. You wanted everything to fall apart. Oksana stayed silent. I trusted you, Oksana. I loved you like my own. You knew how much I loved Alyosha. And still, you couldn't stand it. Because he was supposed to be mine. Oksana suddenly screamed. You have no idea how much I loved him. Since university. But he only saw you. You. And Mom always praised you too. I was just a shadow in this family. That's not my fault. It doesn't matter. I just wanted fate to pick me, for once. Just once. And that's when Natalia realized. Her stepsister, not Irina, not some coworker. Oksana was the rival the fortune teller had seen. She turned and left without another word. Nothing more needed to be said. Back at the hotel, she sat on the bed, clutching the small salt pouch the old woman had given her. She didn't sleep at all that night. And in the morning, she left, heading to the only person left who might still help her. To the blind grandmother. The road to the village felt longer than usual. The fog hadn't lifted, and the trees along the way seemed to lean in, like they, too, wanted to know what would happen next. When Natalia arrived, she was pale, trembling, but not broken. I nearly got hit by a car this morning, she said as soon as she stepped inside. And I fell down the hotel stairs last night. If not for the charm you gave me, I don't think I'd be here. The old woman, Madame Grace, didn't flinch. She simply poured tea, her hands steady despite the storm Natalia carried inside her. And the item? She asked. I didn't retrieve it. But I know what happened to it, Natalia replied, her voice shaking. My wedding bouquet. It was buried. With a girl who took her own life. Oksana, my stepsister, gave it away. Madame Grace set the teacup down slowly. A piece of your wedding, your promise, was bound to death. That is no small thing. She hated me, Natalia whispered. All this time. She wanted what I had. Yes. And when she couldn't have it, she tried to poison it. Through envy. Through ritual. But she failed. Then why do I still feel like I'm falling apart? Because the bond wasn't just broken. It was twisted. And now, you walk with a spirit clinging to your back, one that doesn't belong to you. Natalia shivered. She remembered the visions. Her mother. The cold. The gas. The dark. I need to save my marriage, she said. Please. I love my husband. I can't lose him because of a curse. You can't save a marriage that isn't whole, Grace said. Does he still believe in you? Natalia looked down. He thinks I'm losing my mind. But I promised him, if he heard what Oksana said, he'd understand. Grace nodded. Then make him hear. You don't need him to believe in magic. You only need him to believe in you. She handed Natalia a small scroll and a bundle of dried white roses. This is for the ritual. If he stands beside you and says the words, your bond will be renewed, stronger than before. And if he won't, then you will heal alone. But you will heal. Back home, Natalia found her husband pacing the living room. He tried calling again and again, but she hadn't answered. He looked more worried than angry now. I thought you disappeared, he said. What's going on with you? She didn't respond right away. She opened her phone, tapped on a saved recording, and placed it in his hand. Just listen. It was the recording of her conversation with Oksana. The confession. The hatred. The truth. As it played, Alyosha's expression changed. Disbelief, then shock, then grief. She really, he murmured. Natalia nodded. She's been carrying this bitterness for years. She never forgave me for falling in love with you. He sat down heavily. And the bouquet? She buried it with a suicide victim. My wedding charm. That's why all this has been happening. He rubbed his face, clearly overwhelmed. But when he looked up, something softer had returned to his eyes. What do you want me to do? I want you to help me end it. There's a ritual. We can do it together. Just once. And then, we can be free. A pause. Then he stood. Tell me what to say. That night, they performed the ritual together. By candlelight, barefoot, they stood in their living room holding the dried white roses. They recited the old words from the scroll Grace had given them, a binding spell, not of magic, but of intention. As these rings return to our hands, so does our promise return to our hearts, they whispered, placing their wedding bands on each other's fingers again. Then together, they planted 2 small rose bushes in white ceramic pots and placed them on either side of their bedroom window. Let these roses grow, Natalia whispered, and let no shadow remain. When it was done, they sat on the floor, leaning into each other. No more words. Just breath, steady and shared. The days that followed were calm. Lighter. Irina called, they met for coffee, and the apology came easily this time. I should never have joked about your husband, Irina said. And I shouldn't have stormed out the way I did. You didn't know everything, Natalia replied. Neither did I. As for Oksana, she didn't call. She didn't return. And Natalia didn't look for her. Some relationships aren't meant to be repaired, especially the ones that were built on silence and resentment. One evening, as she tucked a blanket around her shoulders, Alyosha brought her a cup of tea and asked, Do you feel better now? Lighter. I feel cleansed, she said. Like I've finally stopped carrying someone else's grief. He smiled, but then turned serious. And what if it comes back? It won't, she replied. Because this time, I'm not walking blind. She wasn't. She'd seen the danger envy could bring. She'd seen how objects, even flowers, even dresses, could carry echoes of darkness if passed with ill intent. And she'd seen how powerful love could be, when chosen, not assumed. Before bed that night, she untied the red thread Grace had given her and knotted it to one of the rose pots. For memory, she said. Not for magic. A week later, she returned to the old woman's cottage one last time. This time she brought something with her, a single white petal, pressed in glass. I kept a piece, she said. Good, Grace replied. A reminder, not a relic. And Natalia took a deep breath. I forgave her. Not because she deserved it, but because I did. Grace smiled. And the girl in the grave? I left her a flower. At peace now. Like I am. Outside, the wind picked up. But Natalia didn't shiver. The past had lost its grip. And the future. It finally had room to bloom.